Hey everyone, today we are looking at a hip-hop vocal chain mix. This is just a general mix, you can call it a vocal chain mix. I'm just gonna go over basically a hip-hop session of mine that I've done. This is a personal song of mine. We're just gonna kind of go over plugins I have here, functions of them, and why I chose to use them in the moment. So let me just give you guys a basic listen, just so you have a gist of the mix that's going on here before I break it down.
Wake up, I feel like I'm seeing out of my mind. Off the liquor, feel like I'm dreaming. Way too fried. Talk to God when I'm facing my demons. Talk to God when I'm facing my demons. Talk to God when I'm facing my demons. Talk to God when Sooner or later you crack under pressure. Rolling lighty, we smoking on pressure. They think I'm stressing, I never been better. Hop in the coupe with my foot on the pedal. I do whatever to get to the cheddar. My life a movie and I ain't no extra. I'm hot like 100 degrees. Bad on the she get whatever she please.
So you get the basic gist. I've got my vocals going to separate chains based on, backgrounds. See, I have a bunch of doubles here. Ad-libs, and then the lead vocal. So these guys are getting their own buses, and then each of their buses are going to just an overall Vox track here. So a couple things going on with these. Starting with the vocal track, I personally like to start with my EQ. The EQ on this is a little extreme just because the microphone used picks up a lot of low mids, a lot of low end. This is the vocal without any processing.
Feel like I'm seeing out of my mind. Off the liquor, feel like I'm dreaming.
So you hear it's a little boomy.
Talk to God when I'm facing
a lot of harsh S's.
Talk to God when I'm facing my demons. Talk to God when I'm facing my demons. Talk to God when Sooner or later you crack under pressure. Rolling lighty, we smoke.
So we had this new EQ here.
I never been better. Hop in the coupe with my foot on the pedal. I do whatever.
A little clearer, still a little low midi there, but it's a lot clearer than it was before. So next I'll hit it with a little de-esser, just to tame those S's and T's once again. I like to get these out of the way before I do compression, just because personally, the way I approach a vocal mix, I don't want to compress the signal with all of the frequencies that I don't like in it still. If I were to compress this before EQing, I would essentially be bringing up all of the bad frequencies that I don't like to hear, along with everything else. So what I like to do is cut all the bad stuff I don't like first, then I'll compress. After the EQ, I got a little de-esser here.
Feel like I'm seeing out of my mind. Off the liquor, feel like I'm dreaming.
Getting those S's and T's in order.
Talk to God when I'm facing my demons. Talk to God when I'm facing my demons.
I like to use Pro C2 for my compression, just initially going in. The difference is very audible when you're using it. It has its own tonality to it, especially with the vocal style. You'll definitely hear the difference. So here it is without it.
Feel like I'm seeing out of my mind. Off the liquor, feel like I'm dreaming. Way too fried. Talk to God when I'm facing my demons. Talk to God when I'm facing my demons. Talk to God when I'm.
So it really helps with vocal presence. It kind of pushes it out there, right? Gets it out in front. That's why I really like to do this compressor first. Very punchy and it's in your face from the beginning. So I have something to work with. Next I have a little solid slate EQ strip. I really mainly only use the EQ. I use the compressor a little bit. As you can see, there's some light compression on here with the 2.5 to 1 ratio. But mainly, I'm using this as like a fine tooth EQ to kind of like get little frequencies that I don't like. And you're gonna see, as far as for my sessions, EQ is pretty popular for me. I always like to cut out like little imperfections as far as frequency-wise that I feel could be left out of the mix. So here's this EQ here.
She told me that I'm the one. I'm not the 2 or the 3. Getting money ain't nothing to me. Stacking hundreds ain't nothing.
As you can see, this is doing the heavy lifting as far as getting rid of that muddiness, low MIDI. It's almost like kind of nasally, but it's just very muddy and dark. So this is gonna clear up the vocal a lot. I am a cut first EQer. Personally, I'm not really a boosting type of EQer. So I'm doing a lot of cutting here.
No, I ain't quitting for nothing. Going against me, you done. Sure you wanna have some fun. Cover her body in wines.
You can hear that while it is making the vocal a little bit clearer, it does kind of bring back the presence of the vocal just a little bit. So I'm gonna go back with a Puig Child compressor here. This is kind of going to bring it back to life, give it some more warmth, the good warmth that we want. This is a very tonal compressor for me. I'm using this for mainly tonality. Let me show you what it sounds like.
Hundreds ain't nothing to me. I'm off plenty, I don't know who's on my side. Voices in my head, feel like I'm losing my mind. Yeah, feel like I'm losing my mind.
Now it's a slight difference, but you do hear that it kind of brings forth that presence, like how we did with the Pro C2.
Sooner or later you crack under pressure. Rolling lighty, we smoking on pressure. They think I'm stressing, I never been better. Hop in the coupe with my foot on the pedal. I do whatever they get.
There's that. Now I'm gonna go back once again. Another EQ. I told you EQs are very popular in my mixes. I use them a lot. This looks like quite a mountain range here, but I'm just being nitpicky here and kind of picking out little frequencies that I still feel could kind of be more tamed. You know, I'm trying to smooth out the vocal, so.
Tell me that I'm the one, I'm not the 2 or the 3. Getting money ain't nothing to me. Stacking hundreds ain't nothing to me. I'm off plenty, I don't know who's on my side. Voices in my head, feel like
As you can hear, it's clearing up the voice a lot. Now the voice is sounding a lot more airy, a lot more light. That's kind of what I go for with my mixes personally for my music. I want the voice to sound smooth throughout the beat.
Tell me that I'm the one, I'm not the 2 or the 3. Getting money ain't nothing to me. Stacking hundreds ain't nothing to me. I'm off plenty, I don't know who's on my side. Voices in my head.
Now I have a VMR on here. There's not a whole lot going on here. You see I have a bunch of plugins in here. Not everything is being used. So this EQ is not being used. You see it's off here. And this compressor. So we're not gonna look at those really. Those that are being used aren't really being used very heavily. It's a lot of very tonal things. This is just to give it a certain tone, you know, that warmth once again.
Tell me that I'm the one, I'm not the 2 or the 3. Getting money ain't nothing to me. Stacking hundreds ain't nothing to me. I'm off plenty, I don't know who's on my side. Voices in my head, feel like I'm losing my mind.
That is the main vocal that goes then into my entire Vox chain, which we start off with saturation. I have a decapitator here. So what this decapitator is doing, got heavy distortion coming in, just adding that mix in there, getting some saturation in that vocal, giving it more presence.
Demons, tell the God when I'm facing my demons, tell the God when sooner or later you crack under pressure. Rolling lighty, we smoking on pressure. They think I'm stressing, I never been better. Hop in the coupe with my foot on the pedal. I do.
You hear almost immediately as soon as I put that back on, that backbone is immediately established. Nice warmth under it. It's kind of like, you know, being a little pushed, like it's a little oomph. I love personally fresh air. Like I said, I like to keep the vocal light and airy. I'm not going overboard with this at all because this plugin does its job very well. So you don't really need to push it much. I only have high air going, high sparkle as they call it.
Out of my mind, off the liquor, feel like I'm dreaming. Way too fried. Talk to God when I'm facing my demons. Talk to God when I'm facing my demons. Talk to God when I'm facing my demons. Talk to God when I know I ain't quitting for nothing.
Kind of gives it that crispiness, right? It makes it just lighter and more fresh. I guess that's why it's called fresh air. Another EQ. This is really when I'm just getting nitpicky at this point. I'm just listening for any possible last minute things that I could have missed, you know what I mean? So I did add fresh air. You're gonna see after the EQ I have some soothe. Although it did give that airiness, those S's are a little sharp. So I'm hitting it with another dynamic EQ here.
Under pressure, rolling lighty, we smoking on pressure. They think I'm stressing, I never been better. Hop in the coupe with my foot on the pedal. I do whatever to get to the cheddar. My life a movie and I ain't no extra.
Finally, to top it off, I hit it with the soothe. This is really gonna kind of make those S's and T's a lot smoother.
The liquor, feel like I'm dreaming. Way too fried. Talk to God when I'm facing my demons. Talk to God when I'm facing my demons. Talk to God when I'm facing my.
So even right there, you hear those T's and S's here. Listen to how it sounds without and then with.
Way too fried. Talk to God when I'm facing my demons.
So you hear they're a bit sharp there, but as soon as I apply the soothe,
way too fried. Talk to God when I'm facing my demons. Talk to God when I'm facing my demons. Talk to God when I'm facing my demons.
as you can hear, very effective. We do also have some parallel compression going on down here. I love this compressor, this Purple Audio MC77. I think it's really great, especially for sidechain compressing.
Way too fried. Talk to God when I'm facing my demons.
Very healthy signal coming in here. And we're doing this at a 4-to-1. Very slow on the attack and release there. I have this pretty low, minus 25 dB, but it's enough to bring more presence into the mix. So let's hear how it sounds without it real quick.
We smoking on pressure. They think I'm stressing, I never been better. Hop in the coupe with my foot on the pedal. I do whatever to get to the cheddar. My life a movie and I ain't no extra.
So kind of like the decapitator is doing and some of my VMR plugins, it's just kind of giving it that extra little push under the vocal to help bring it forward to the forefront of the mix. All right, as far as our backing vocals, there isn't much different. Both chains are pretty much the same. They have the same settings because, you know, it's the same vocal. I'm mixing the same vocal. There are some slight differences, though. The main one is the effects. Personally, I like to add micro shift to my ad-lib vocals.
Yeah, yeah.
So the reason why I use microshift, I just kind of gives it a flanging kind of chorusy sound effect for sure. And it kind of makes the vocal almost tucked behind my lead. That's why I like it a lot as well. It almost like perfectly tucks it behind the lead and gets it a nice space. It's a very stereo image.
Yeah.
Pretty plain, right?
Yeah.
But then once I apply it, you'll hear the difference.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So immediately it makes it way fuller and it almost drops it in this big space that you almost feel kind of all around you, behind you. It really does like give the backing vocals a lot more character.
Talk to God when I'm facing my demons. Talk to God when I'm facing my demons. Talk to God when I'm facing my demons. Talk to God when I... Sooner or later
You hear it really gives that spaciness. And I'm also, just on the main ad-lib track, I have a little pan man just to, you know, get it going back and forth, give it some variation. Pretty heavy reverb and delay on there. I am not shy with the reverb. For my backing vocals, I'm really just using a doubler on there just to kind of give it width and make it kind of sound bigger in a sense. Kind of do a bit of flanging, but it's really just what it says. It's a doubler, so it's doubling the vocal on both sides just to give the main vocal a little more presence and kind of a little bit of ear candy. You know, you kind of hear it on the sides as it's behind the vocal, so it's a pretty cool effect. I'll show you guys.
wake up, I feel like I'm seeing out of my mind. Off the liquor, feel like I'm dreaming. Way too fried. Talk to God when I'm facing my demons.
So it gives us some more presence, a little bit more of an oomph without being overbearing and taking over the lead vocal. So you guys have seen my vocal chain. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I hope this video was somewhat informational to you guys. If there is any other types of mix breakdown videos you guys would like to see, just let us know in the comments. If you guys would like to see a more full session with vocals and full beat stems, we could definitely do that for sure. Thank you. Hit that like and comment and subscribe. This has been Mixing in Mercy University Studios.
Wake up, I feel like I'm seeing out of my mind. Off the liquor, feel like I'm dreaming.